Evening, everybody. This is the Opinion Guy. I am Charles Guarria, broadcasting just minutes away from the world's most famous beach, Daytona Beach, in Daytona Beach, Florida. And we have had some super cold weather lately. We almost had a near record low just within 48 hours. So you easily could have called it the world's most frozen beach. But it is warming up, and tomorrow it's going to be in the 70s. And that's why I love living in the South. Days where it was a little rough, but before you know it, you're back to good old warm weather that the South is known for. So yeah, we got an excellent show coming up this evening. The Monday night show is always a fascinating conversation with libertarian Joe Hannoush and conservative commentator Michael Vass. Got a whole bunch of things on the board to go over, angles that perhaps you haven't heard anywhere else on some topics of the day. But before we get to them, just want to let you know what's going on. We got the baseball show tomorrow evening, and there's a whole lot going on. Brendan Donovan just got traded in the three-team trade between the Cardinals, the Mariners, and the Rays, and we'll get into that tomorrow night for sure. And I have the lead singer of the Verve Pipe coming on Wednesday evening. Lead singer, guitars, founding member of the Verve Pipe is on Wednesday, and then the rhythm guitar player and vocals of Stars. So a lot of music this week will be on Thursday. So we're going to pause that there. Be sure to check in and be sure to like, comment, and share, because you like the Monday night news panel. And I, without further ado, I'm going to bring to you Mr. Joe Hannoush and Michael Vass. Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
I am fantastic. How was your week, Joe?
It was great. I got to see you. I saw you on Wednesday,
Yes.
Over here at a mutual event. So it was fun. It was good.
Yeah,
it was cold.
Yeah, it was a cold time. How about you, Mike? What's going on with you?
Well, I just got my coffee, so that is a good bit of news. Everything's going pretty good. I mean, it's February. We're seeing some interesting developments happening across the country. And one of the things that I mentioned, I think I said it with you, Charles, back on December, we talked about something and I predicted an event that was going to happen in New York, and it did. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
All right. I am curious to get into that. I got some New York news too for you guys. But I'm going to start off with what's becoming a super popular segment here on the show. And that is the dumbest news item of the week. And the dumbest news item of the week this week has to do with Robert Reich, which probably comes as no surprise to both of you. So I'm going to play a clip here. I'm going to grab this clip from Reason.tv, a show called Free Media, and give you a little piece of, okay, hold on one second. I am going to share the screen. And here it is. Now, they were speaking about Don Lemon, and we can definitely get into that. But this part kind of caught my attention in the whole 16 minutes here, where they're talking about the Don Lemon incident. So this is Amber Duke. The show is called Free Media on Reason.tv, and the gentleman's name is Robbie Suave. So here we go. Listen to this. This is the dumbest news item of the week, and then we're going to comment on it.
Robert Reich, of all people, his Substack today. He was, I know, blast from the past, but he was asking people essentially, how far are you willing to go to stop ICE from doing this? And 20% of his followers said that they were willing to risk death in order to stop ICE. And all of the comments were from these elderly.
All right, that's all we need to see on that. 20%. So I'm going to go in like three different directions with you guys on this. First of all, all right, I'm going to go, I'll reserve comment. Well, if I say it's the dumbest news item of the week, then you guys know how I feel about that. I put across the bottom of the screen here before I hit your guys for questions and comments who he was, because a lot of folks probably, maybe it rings a bell. Robert Reich, for me, was most notably worked for the Clinton administration and as the U.S. Secretary for the Department of Labor. But he was also a professor, an author, and so on. And now he's retired. And if you follow him on X, he's He is quite vocal about politics. All righty. So here's the deal. First of all, 20% of the people said that they're willing to risk death in order to stop ICE. Michael, I'm gonna start with you. Do you think that's just reactionary, like the somebody who's going to be all brave online to answer a question, but in reality, could you even conceive of anybody risking death to stop ICE?
Well, it's consistent with what we've seen in a lot of polling that has been done of the youth. They actually believe that, or at least they are willing to say, that they're willing to die for socialism. They're willing to die for illegal immigration. They're willing to die for breaking the law, of fighting law enforcement like ICE, and they always confuse this. There's ICE, there's Custom Border Patrol, there's DHS, and many times in some of these incidents, there's also the IRS. And they're willing to die to take on all of them, because they don't understand the consequences of what they're doing. They're not thinking about the next step. They have been indoctrinated, told that these institutions are evil, just like America is evil. And so they say, well, that's just horrible. And we'll virtue signal and say it's the worst thing that's ever happened. Mind you, they ignore things like what's going on still to this day in Iran, where the Ayatollah and his regime have killed over they have imprisoned 46,000 people. They have killed somewhere between 6,000 and 33,000 of their citizens because they said that the inflation is too high. That's it. The people in Iran have said that inflation is too high, and they're getting killed on the streets. But Donald Trump is a authoritarian and dictator because you can go online. Robert Reich got online and said he hates Trump, he hates America, he hates our laws, and no one's gone to kill him, and they shouldn't. No one's gone to arrest him, and they shouldn't. They don't understand what the hell they're talking about. They really don't. And if anyone in the left disagrees with that, if you're a progressive, democratic, socialist America, please, I'd love to hear your argument, because you don't have one. You have a feeling, you don't actually have an argument.
So what you're saying basically is like that 20% that said that of Robert Reich's followers, and unfortunately, Free Media, usually a very good show, did not say what social media platform that was. I am going to assume that was X.
Doesn't matter. Actually, let me address that. It doesn't matter because it was online. So no matter what the number might be, that doesn't mean it's his audience. It just means these were people, some of them bots. And we know that bots are real. They do exist. And some of them are bots that responded to his comment. It has nothing to do with his actual audience. They're just trying to big up. The left loves authority bias. You have a title. You've had a position. This is why they refer to Don Lemon as the CNN journalist, the former CNN. Why is that relevant? It's not. But they say it because, oh no, but he had a position. Used to. He may have also worked for Wendy's. You want to mention that too? No, because it's not relevant.
So what do you think, Joe? Do you think these are mostly bots, and like 20% of Robert Reich's followers would not risk death to stop ICE?
I do agree with the point that the way the poll was conducted makes a huge difference. If it is like let's just say it's on X or something, or Facebook or whatever it is, that could be very easily manipulated. Usually on social media, if you do a poll, you get the results of your followers. Like it is, you kind of cultivate your own narrative, if you will, the own results. Because let's say the Republican Party of America put out a poll, who would you vote for, Trump or Harris? It'll be 80%, 20% Trump, Harris. But the Democrat Twitter put out a poll saying, who would you vote for, Harris or Trump? It'll be 80% Harris, 20% Trump. So, but I mean, there is manipulation because someone from the Trump camp might share the Democrat post in their group and say, hey, vote for this way. Or it could be what you mentioned earlier off the top. It could be, people just trying to make a point. I think maybe it's an online poll. It's not like serious. It's not like, oh, I am signing up to do this thing. It's a poll, so you can say whatever you want. Yeah, so the whole like foundation of that, I don't really put a whole lot of weight into. But honestly, I'm not surprised. 20% is not a lot. I would honestly pick the over if I was kind of saying like if you set that up, you didn't tell me the percent, but you asked me is it 20, over 20% or lower? I would have said over because I think a lot of people, given what has happened recently with ICE, for lack of a better term, killing a couple people. Well, I said for lack of a better term, Michael. Hold on.
There are many
For
better
lack of a better
terms than
term.
that, but go on.
Okay.
The
Anyway,
deaths in
we all know
Minnesota.
what happened. We all know what happened. Anyway, so a lot of those followers probably feel like, well, there are people who literally die doing that. So they might feel like, well, yeah, sure, it should be much higher than 20%. So, not saying it should be, but I'm just saying, like the sentiment of the people that follow his page, I'm surprised it's not higher, honestly.
Well,
Okay. All right,
traditionally,
Joe.
we've seen, just to make that more relevant, you're right, Joe. It usually is. In polling, long before we had anything in Minnesota, we saw that consistently, and real polls, not online polls, but polls coming from Rasmussen, coming from Zogby, some of the bigger institutions. They've all been getting results of 30, 35% of the youth. So I would have expected it to be higher, but again, that's why it's indoctrination. Because they're asking these young people, and we've seen this is something that is a trend with those that are 35 and under. That's an indoctrination of our youth. We never saw these kinds of numbers before.
Okay. So Mike, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to turn this into a completely different direction. I am curious to know, what would it take for you to stand up to authority, like welcoming or inviting a fisticuff with the police, with the FBI, kind of what these people are saying they would do when they're online at home and they're tweeting out. But would you ever, or could you ever see yourself in a situation where you would be like, it's fisticuffs time. I'm throwing down the gloves. Let's go to work. I need to fight you now, no matter what. Is there ever, what would you make you stand up? And what is it?
Well, sure. I mean, that's why the whole Second Amendment exists. It's when our government becomes so corrupt and dysfunctional, so oppressive, that the people have to speak up. Jefferson said that people should go out and rewrite the Constitution every 20 years, every generation, because they had a clear understanding that without the people forcing the government to be accountable, the government will become corrupt, and it has. What would it take if we saw that any president, any politician said, there's no more elections? That would be, you've violated the Constitution fundamentally and at its core, where they say, okay, we're going to remove the Second Amendment. And it's not a vote amongst the people, but it's just someone in elected office says, okay, it just doesn't exist anymore. That would be another condition. If they were to say that floodgates are open, and we're going to allow anyone in the world to come into America and get everything, all of my taxes, your money, your property, they're just going to give it all away. That's a fundamental betrayal of the people. I would fight against that. Okay. So it would be extreme, but of course I would do that. That's why I joined the Marines and swore my oath to uphold the Constitution, not the president, not a party, the Constitution.
Right.
And anything that were to violate that without the will of the people, that's a reason to fight.
Okay, so Zelensky called off the elections during the war. Let's say, God forbid, we had some kind of massive war going on here, and the president in power, who cares? We're not doing labels DNR here. Just say, you know what? Too dangerous. We're not having it. We're not having voting this year.
No, we've already done it. We already did that. It was World War I, World War II. We've had several wars that were ongoing, and there was an election, and we had the election.
No, I mean here. I mean, if we were getting devastated, like if our cities were being devastated, and the president said, we just can't, it's too dangerous to have people come out, would you be like, that's it, I'm done, and I'm gonna fight back our freedoms?
And that's not a valid premise, because that's virtually impossible to happen.
Well, we're playing mind games here.
Well, I mean, if you're talking
work
about
with
the
me,
movie
Mike.
Red Dawn, yeah, but I mean, and I mean the original, not the remake. There's that, but I mean, it's not realistic.
Okay.
But that would be a very, I mean, you're talking about the most extreme of extreme circumstances where we're door to door fighting for our lives. Yeah, I think that takes a precedence over making a vote. But separate of that, and again, that's not, I don't believe that's credible. Separate of that, no.
Okay. All right. How about you, Joe? What situation would you possibly, put up your dukes?
Well, I joined a political party. There's two ways to go about changing the government, right? 'Cause when you're upset, via the Constitution. One is electorally, so you basically run for office, try to change things legislatively, or you do what the founders did, and you pick up your torches and your pitchforks, and you go kick some ass. So I would prefer to do the former before I do the latter. And when elections no longer are something that I believe in, then yeah, the only other alternative is deal with it, or yeah, take up your pitchforks and yeah, finish what what our founders suggest.
Yeah. When I was thinking about this this afternoon, I was thinking to defend my family. I mean, I always have this sort of image of the people marching down the street, and they're just wantonly firing at people and in their houses, and my girlfriend and I are standing by the window with our guns, and we're just firing away, defending the homeland, this house. That's always the way I think of it. At that point, yeah, I mean, sooner or later you would just have to do something like that.
Yeah, and as long as they don't cancel elections, then I know
Yeah.
I'm voting out for whoever decided to march troops down my street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't care who it is. I don't care what letter
Right.
is next to the name. I don't care if it's a libertarian. I am voting that person out that put troops on my street.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's
there's
interesting
reasons.
mind game. Go ahead. Yeah, Mike.
Well, there's reasons why there are troops in the street, and we see that. We've already seen that. I mean, look at LA, look at DC, look at Memphis.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is not the problem. It is the execution of that and the causation of that is important. Now, if you're saying without various international cartels and gangs that are endangering the lives of American citizens, if we're talking about rampant, unaddressed crime and violent crime in particular, that isn't being addressed at the local or state level, if we're saying absent of those kinds of factors, that it's just randomly, just because out of the blue, we're going to send in troops into, I don't know, Wichita, Kansas, just because it's Wichita, Kansas, that's a very different thing than going after MS-13 in California, Tren de Aragua in Aurora, Colorado, or illegal aliens in Minneapolis. Very different situations. Or even in DC, going after the gangs that were killing people and going around carjacking people every day. Very different situation. So that is a big caveat.
Yeah. I have a problem, with, I kind of feel that the federal government should stay out of a lot of things that Trump has sent the troops into, because the people voted for that ineffective governor and the people and mayor, right? And the people have to vote that person out. If they don't like the crime in their streets, the next time there's an election, you need to move that person along. That's the whole idea of the system that we have.
Right.
And I don't like, to me, the federal government should pretty much stay, it's way too strong, and it pretty much should stay out of the state's business on almost every single level.
No, because that's not what the
Okay.
Constitution says. That's not, the function of the government is to do that which we cannot do ourselves. I believe that's from Benjamin
Federal
Franklin.
government.
And one of the most important things, and the first and primary purpose of any government, I don't care what type of government it is, its first priority and purpose is to protect the people. protect the people from things they cannot protect themselves from. So yes, I agree. And I think it's this year, California will be picking a new governor. Should it be Gavin Newsom? Absolutely not. He should be voted out. And in fact, he's term limit out. But what if it was 2 more years to go? Should the people suffer for 2 more years? In D.C., Mayor Bowser, I believe this year she's up for re-election. If it was 2 more years, should people continue to have that as the murder capital of the United States, with people being carjacked every single day when it's not necessary? And by the way, D.C., I know, is a little different because it's not the property of the United States, or rather it is a property of the United States. It's not actual state. Right. But that being a little different. But again, how much suffering must the people go through? And I'm talking about violent, physical, death, suffering, before the federal government, who has the mandate to protect the people, before it takes action, which is allowed by the Constitution and many other laws. Now, again, it has to be very specific, but it is allowed. So I think that's something that it's not as easy as never or no. It's let's be very sure about the conditions and the circumstances and the length of time. What's the mission there? I think that's very important.
Okay, so I'll agree with you there, and I'll say, if you don't think, I'll have the caveat with, if you don't think the reason for having those troops there is, meets your criteria, then vote with the person out who put those troops there.
Yeah, all right. I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, I got you. Yeah, I got you on that. Yeah, I mean, it's a great. I mean, these are fascinating debates because you can see both. I mean, Michael, you're always expressing your viewpoint in logic. Like I totally see where you're coming from. You know what I mean? But it is a really interesting thing. Like, at what point, and it's so subjective, which is why there's no real clear answer to it. We all have our opinion, but as a nation, it's hard to get a solid answer to how far the government should go in interfering in a state's business, federal government interfering in a state's business, because there is no real. It's all very subjective, Well, I just feel like even with the sanctuary cities, I'm going to continue with this before I go on to the next topic. Even if New York wants sanctuary cities, if California, Chicago, that's on them. That's not. I mean, you ruin your own state, man. I know, Mike, what you just said, but I still feel it's like that's what they want. They voted for that. That's what they want. You guys voted for Mamdani overall, and I say this about Trump when I'm online. When I'm on X in particular, and people are complaining about Trump, I'm like, you kind of forgetting this is what the people wanted.
Well,
so you got to stop complaining.
Again, there's a caveat there, and I think part of the problem we have right now is people are substituting their feeling for the law, and not and even when using their feelings, they're not considering consequences of their actions. So it's not that. Yes, New York is a sanctuary state. New York City is a sanctuary city, and one of the proper answers to that is cut off all federal funding to them, all of it. That includes food stamps. That includes Social Security. Everything. None of the federal funds should go to any sanctuary city or state for any reason. There is no exception. But that's a third rail politically, and no one is willing to do that. So they're not allowed to actually do what would be the remedy. At the same time, these illegal aliens, and even if we want to say it's just 1% of the illegal aliens, well, the estimate is somewhere around 50 to 80 million. So 1% of that is what, 500,000 illegal aliens that are violent criminals? Even if we're using the rule of 1%, which we all know is a lie, and it is higher than that. That is more than most cities in America. That's how many people that is, at just 500,000. And how long should that be allowed when the federal government mandate, its purpose, is to protect the people? And the government of New York has failed those same people.
Well, she has. And there's somebody out there who can change that around. And we're going to get to that later. And that guy's name is Larry Sharp. I do want to show this comment here. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The 2 protesters killed here, as in the United States, compared to many thousands killed in Iran protesting. That's from Joel. And Yeah. So, Michael, you're basically like, if I getting back to the original stupidity of Robert Reich and the 20%,
Yep.
you're basically saying those 20% should be more focused on what's happening in Iran and less focused about, the supposed terror of ICE. Is that essentially what it boils down to?
Not quite.
Oh,
If we're holding Robert Reich and the left, all of that ilk, and we hold them to their words and their ideology as they have professed it, like when they were pro-Hamas, and they had the pro-Hamas protests all across this nation, Harvard,
Yeah.
Columbia, Binghamton, city after city, all of them bluer than blue states, bluer than blue cities. And they said, well, we have to help the people because they are dying. They are being killed. How is that different than Iran? The people are asking for help. They are helpless because they had their rights taken away from them by the dictatorial, excuse me, it's a tough word sometimes, dictatorial government of Iran. And their people, again, for just saying the economy sucks, are being killed and imprisoned without any trials. If those people were being honest and consistent with their ideology, they would be demanding on the steps of the White House right now that we send over troops and fund those people and protect those people. So they're dishonest. And this is why I say they are programmed, because their logic, this isn't my ideology. This is their ideology. This is what they were out on the streets complaining about. I'm holding them to their own standard that they shoved down my throat and told me I'm a racist, evil, whatever you want to call me, because I didn't, at the time, I'm like, no, I don't agree with Hamas. I don't agree with supporting a terrorist organization. And they said, oh, but you're evil because the people are dying. And here we are. We have another terrorist organization, but this time they just don't care. That's the problem. I don't believe in their 20% because they don't believe in anything themselves. They will say whatever they are told they are supposed to be feeling at any given moment. They're indoctrinated.
All right. So, Joe, let me ask you this question. Were the pro-Hamas demonstrations more anti-Israel than they were pro-Hamas?
Obviously, I don't know what's in their heads, people that are protesting that. But my guess is, like, if I were to be involved in that, my thing would be, I don't want the government oppressing people. So it would be against government oppression. It would be my kind of stance on that. I don't know what their stance was, but that would be mine. But I do want to make a quick point about, kind of like protesting. Protesting is First Amendment, but it's also complaining is First Amendment. So I know we've used the term complaining a few times so far tonight, and complaining often gets a negative connotation. I don't think it's necessarily negative. I don't think it's inherently negative. I think it's exercising First Amendment. Frankly, if I didn't complain, I wouldn't be running for office. I wouldn't be involved in politics. Everything I say is based on my complaints about the government, airing my grievances about government. So I'm very much in favor of quote unquote complaining. Mm-hmm. I encourage it. In fact, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
What do you think about the situation in Iran? I mean, the news is tapped down because I believe there's still a blackout that cut off the web. But what's your position on what's going on there, Joe? And
so we did touch on that also with people dying in Iran for talking, for complaining, for protesting. Same as over here in the United States. Now, over here in the United States, we have the Constitution, as was mentioned earlier. We have the First Amendment, we have the Fourth Amendment. We have these enumerated rights to due process, to airing our grievances against government. Now, even if we didn't, let's just say we didn't. Let's say the First and Fourth Amendment didn't exist, okay? They're still good ideas, and they should be universal. Like, even if we didn't have that, if you are the leader of Iran, leader of Israel, leader of Hamas, whatever, leader of the United States, whatever the thing is, governor, whatever. Even if those First Amendment and Fourth Amendment didn't exist, it should still be a good idea for people to be able to express themselves, no matter what it is, add to discussion. And if you feel like someone kind of crossed the line, or is doing something illegal, okay, take them to court. They deserve a day in court, even though if it's not an enumerated right, wherever they are, it's still a good idea. Because right now, if we don't have the Fourth Amendment, you get people deported in our own country where we do have a Fourth Amendment. You get citizens deported. So we should have due process for everybody, so we know it's true, Michael. It's true.
No. But please, Joe, I need factual evidence. What American citizens have been deported?
I don't know their names, but American citizens have deported. Some of them have been famous, like they go in the newspaper.
Not in any publication, and I follow many publications, almost none of them right-leaning. I'm not aware of that. I know that there have been allegations online with no proof, no evidence, no actual connection to the truth. It's the same thing as those people who say, oh, that 5-year-old Emil, he was arrested by ICE. That's a complete lie. And we heard that this weekend. Oh my God, he was arrested this week and ICE used him as bait. These are lies. The father of the child ran away because he didn't want to get deported. The mother refused to open up the door, even when told deported, because they're both illegal aliens. And to this day, the mother is not known as ICE could have gone back at any time and got the mother and tried to deport her too. They never did. So they were trying to get the child back, but the media will lie and people will assume it's the truth because all of the media is saying the same lie, even though if you actually pay attention to the details of the story, you find out, as reported by the news media and just not in the headline, it's a lie.
Okay,
so,
Joe, before you respond, I just want to get Joel up there real quick because last time he patiently waited for me to bring up his comment. So I've heard detained. Joel's heard detained, but not deported.
Yeah, and detainment is not illegal. It's not a crime. It's standard in every state and always has and has been since, 1865, actually even before then. That's not a crime, although that's also said that's a crime. No, it's not.
Okay,
there are hundreds of thousands of Japanese Americans who would disagree with you. But anyway, besides that, there was a gentleman, again, I don't know his name, but this was on the news. This was videotaped. This was public everywhere. Everyone was reporting on this. A gentleman, like, he was basically removed from his house, like naked, basically. All he had on was like a towel or a robe or whatever. And he was booked, taken to wherever, some detaining place, and then like held there for I don't know how many hours, 3 hours, 8 hours, whatever it was, before they said, oh, you are a citizen, and took him right back home.
Yeah, that's called detainment. That's normal. You can do that. Every state can. Every city can do that. The federal government can do that. It may be uncomfortable, and yes, it was a mistake. It's not illegal. That's standard.
That's putting it very nicely. Very
in any state, I just want to be very clear. You can be detained in any state, any city, anywhere on U.S. property for up to 72 hours, and that is normal. And
I know it's normal. It should not be normal, and it's not constitutional.
It is in the Constitution, although it doesn't. Even in the Constitution, it does not identify how long a citizen can be detained. It has no time limit on that. But every government has that capability, local, state, and federal, and they all use that. It isn't a crime. And in an ideal, perfect world, maybe we wouldn't need it, but none of us live in that world. That's not the reality.
No, it's not a crime when the government does it, right? But if I did that to you and held you for 72 hours, I'm spending the next 5 years of my life in jail.
That's called kidnapping. It's not the same thing.
I agree with you. It is called kidnapping. Yes.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing. The government can and does routinely, as part of police procedures, FBI procedures, state police procedures. It is part of the process of.
I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
You're not getting any pushback from me on that. I agree with you.
Okay.
They do that. The government does do that. It is part of the process, and it's legal when the government does it. I agree with you.
All right. So I brought up Don Lemon. Let's go down that road for a little bit. Joe, you can have this one first. He's out. He was at the Grammys last night, walking the red carpet, living the life for now. Was he? Let's just go with the arrest part. Right or wrong to arrest him, and did he trespass or not? Those two questions.
I don't know what he did, honestly. I don't follow. He's basically a celebrity right now. I don't really follow him. I know he's the former CNN guy,
Yes.
but that's all I know. I mean, I don't know what he got arrested for, honestly.
Uh-huh. Well, basically, yeah. Mike, go ahead. You can.
Joe, you need
figure
to
it out.
watch my show on Sundays. I've been covering this for a couple of weeks.
What hour, Mike?
Don Lemon, for those who aren't following this, and I'm surprised, it is a major story. Don Lemon conspired with a group of BLM activists to go into a church and deny worshipers in that church under active services on a Sunday, went into the church and decided to deny them their right to worship because the BLM activists didn't like that the pastor also, at that time, allegedly, they had no proof, worked with ICE. Don Lemon joined them in every aspect. He was aware of the process. He was aware of where they were going. He walked in with them into the church to take away and intimidate individuals while they worshiped in their church. He did that on a live stream. That is a crime. It is a violation of the FACE Act. It is a violation of the KKK Act of 1871. It's a violation of the First Amendment. Don Lemon said, I'm an online journalist and I used to work for CNN and I'm black and I'm gay, so you can't do anything about it. Well, the federal government said, you're wrong. I said he was wrong at the time. And the federal government has now followed up and said, no, you're wrong. Him and three other journalists now, who also participated and were part of the process to deprive American citizens of their First Amendment right to worship, have all been arrested.
So here's the deal.
He gets to go to the Grammys for this, but he should be denounced across America because what he did was unethical, it was immoral, and it's illegal. And I'm happy.
So he said that he didn't do anything different that day. I'm playing devil's advocate here. He didn't do anything different that day that he's done for the 30 years he's been a journalist.
He's a liar.
So here's the question. I'm sorry, Joe, you're caught up on everything. So I'm going to throw this question out to both of you guys, and Michael, we'll go with you first on this one. And that is, if he just walked in the same way the J6ers just walked in. Now, some J6ers didn't just walk in. A lot of them just walked in and checked the place out. If he just walked in and talked to that pastor and reported, is there a problem? Because that seems to be what a lot of people believe he did. He just walked in there like the J6ers did.
But that isn't what he did. And we factually have the evidence from his live stream. And we heard his words, we saw the planning, we saw his involvement, and we saw what he did. So it's not hypothetical. We know for a fact he didn't do that. Now, as someone, I have been doing this 20 years. He's done it 30, I've done it 20. And he knows as well as I do. In fact, even Chris Cuomo, who formerly used to work with him, has said publicly that if he had tried to do what Don Lemon did, or if Don Lemon was still at CNN and tried to do what he did, they would have fired him on the spot because it was criminal and it was immoral and it was unethical. And he knows that. So he's lying to the public because they don't know.
All right, Joe,
let me explain how it's legal. If Don Lemon happened to be going down the block with his camera crew and he saw a bunch of people running in the church screaming at their lungs that, BLM is beautiful and we hate you because you're law enforcement, whatever the hell they said. And upon hearing that, he decides to go into the building at that moment and he is recording that. And then in the process of recording that, he's able to speak to people at the event as it's happening that he happened upon. That could be legal. Yes. But there is no one in the news media who would dare walk into that church based on the evidence and information they had. They would not do it because it's a crime.
Joe, if he was just standing there and he saw the people walk in and he just walked in with them, same question to you, just like the J6ers, a lot of them just, walked right in there. There's video of that as well. Did he do anything wrong?
Yeah, I'm going to use the same criteria that I used for J6 if we're comparing the two. most of them, I don't think did anything wrong at all. I think they just walked in. It's public, ground, and they should have been not even a slap on the wrist, not even a citation. Just that's it. No detainment even or anything. Just okay, you're clear. Bye bye. Some of them did a little bit more than that, and they vandalized, they stole, whatever. I think if Don Lemon and some people that were with him, if they were disturbing the proceedings, the church, from doing its thing, then yeah, that's harassment. That's disturbing the peace, if you will. I think at the very least he should be trespassed if that's what happened. Now, on the other hand, if he was just standing there, I don't think there's anything wrong with just standing there, as long as he was, doing so peacefully, not interrupting, not in someone's way. Basically, the proceedings were allowed to proceed. The church was allowed to, do its thing. The worshipers were allowed to worship. The preacher was allowed to preach. If all that was going on, then I see nothing wrong with someone just standing there. But if it was more than that, if it was, yelling, if it was, again, preventing people from their right to worship, their right to preach as well, then yes, that should be at minimum trespass, and that should be held accountable. Sure.
And
Mike, I got a question for you. Right. If you were hearing about the reporters, right, that got arrested, but what about the average Joe and Jane that walked in there and none of them got arrested? Like, the government came down so hard on the J6ers. Is nobody other than reporters getting arrested in this one?
No, that's not true at all.
Okay, no, I'm asking you. I'm not saying it was true or not. I'm asking you.
Okay. No, it has been reported, and actually the first people who got arrested were the three leads who organized and conducted this violation of the First Amendment, violation of FACE Act, and the KKK Act of 1871. Yeah. They've already been arrested. They were the first ones to be arrested. And I believe several others have been arrested since that time. Okay,
good. Well, that's good, because that part for sure is crazy. Now I'm in the media, and I know you, Michael, you are too. And I, if I was standing outside and I saw a bunch of people walk in, I'd be like, I'm getting that story. I'm going in there, But again, I would do that. I do that now in much more chamber situations. Believe me, if anybody might feel like watching, it's not that. But I'll go anywhere, and if somebody says something, I'll go, I'm in the press. I'll show them my press pass, and if they got a problem with it, I'll stay as long as I possibly can before I know I got to move on. But I don't care. I want to get the story. So I would do what Don Lemon did.
But see, you wouldn't, because that's
I would definitely walk. No. I would definitely walk in, and I would definitely, if I saw people storming with guns, I would definitely not. I would stay outside and begin writing this story. But if they're just walking in, I'd walk in and observe. Man, I got to see what's going on. Get the camera out. Get the phone out.
Again, let me clarify, because that is something that is already happened. They've already made the plan, and they have already committed to the plan to commit crime. And you happen upon the crime as it's happening, which is after it's already been the planning of it and the execution of it already started. So yes, as a journalist, if something is happening, I've been in many protests that I've gone, and I've covered them as things just happen. But I was there to cover the protest march. I didn't know there was going to be violence. And so I covered that, and the violence just happened. That's incidental to why I was there. I wasn't told that was going to be the plan, that they were going to march over to this specific place to commit this specific crime. Don Lemon was. He was part of that planning. He was part of that execution. And him being in there, he didn't just happen to start filming after a crime took place and these people were being violated. He was taping before. This was intentional. This was purposive, and he was part of it. Therefore, he is complicit in the entire crime.
When's he due back in court?
That I don't know the date. It's not long. It's like a month, I believe.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Let's keep on top of this one and bring it back up. I got another one for you guys. It has to do with privacy, and this is a really interesting topic that's come up here in the Daytona Beach area. I actually got rid of the person's name because I want to protect the innocent here. Even though they put it up on Facebook, I don't want to, out who the person is. They don't know that we're using it. It's going around the world. So this, as you can see, I highlighted in yellow down the left-hand side parts that I thought were super important. But this person is very excited because of the public's unwavering advocacy and dedication. Senator Corey Simon has placed cameras in special needs classrooms on the agenda for tomorrow. You may recall at the beginning of last year, this person and their significant other had the unimaginable reality of their son's paraprofessional of 3+ years being arrested by the Port Orange police on multiple charges, including traveling for the purposes of engaging in unlawful sexual conduct. Okay, so you see where this is going. We had this person who is clearly what's called ASM, adult sexual misconduct, in the place of education, K through 12. The Senator Corey Simon has placed cameras in special needs classrooms, which makes it can be even worse. But it's like it sounds even more horrible. It's horrible whether you're special needs or not. But the special needs part even tugs at your heartstrings even more. So these people are super excited about it. And the first thing I thought, folks, was we are just being watched all over the place. And now teachers and students are going to be watched too. Yes, it's horrible, but there's other ways you can go about this. And am I right? I'll put myself on the line here. Am I right or wrong? Joe, we'll start with you on this one. Am I right or wrong to feel it's an overuse of security cameras in this country and we are just 1984 in it all?
I would say yes to that question you just posed. However, there's a lot of nuances that go on around this thing. I expect police officers, law enforcement, to wear body cameras, right? Mm-hmm. I expect courtrooms to have, a recorder, someone, I forget what it's called, but someone keeping notes of what's going on, recordings of that. I expect us to have cameras in our Congress to see what they're doing. So I expect a lot of public transparency from government. Now, a public government classroom, if I'm being principled, then yes, we need to have it there too. But to your original question, do I want all these cameras everywhere watching us do everything? No, I don't. So it's kind of, it is, I don't know. Like if I was in the state legislature, I honestly don't know how I would vote on this. I would very much, I don't know. I might make it optional for if you want your student to be in a classroom where there is a camera on, okay, you could opt into that. If you don't care or whatever, then okay, there could be a classroom where there isn't a camera in there, and we can kind of try it. We can try both ways, and which one kind of works better or whatever. But as far as government schools, so private schools, and that would be interesting. What do private schools do? Do they have cameras in their schools already, in their classrooms, or not? I would like to see how it works before I would say this should be the law.
Okay. No, that's absolutely wrong, in my opinion. I think I understand the intent of it, but no, absolutely not. See,
wait, Mike, I got confused for a second. You're saying putting the cameras in the school classroom is wrong?
Yes, and I don't agree with Joe's. I understand Joe's position. I don't like it. Let me say that, and specifically for reasons. Now, one, the biggest question that should be asked, which isn't being asked, because again, people are being emotional and they're judging things by their short-term emotion, not long-term consequence, nor an understanding of law. One very simple question to ask. If you put a camera in a classroom, period, doesn't matter who it's for, you put a camera in a classroom, does that prevent a teacher to, outside of the classroom, to go and connect with underage individuals for illegal activities? Yeah, the camera doesn't do anything. You're not protecting anyone. That isn't a benefit. Now, if you really want to have that, that's not for the state government to decide. That's what the local school board is for. The parents of those children, because ultimately the parent is the advocate and the voice of that child, they get to decide, to vote and say, yeah, we want, even though it may not help protect our child because it has nothing to do with anywhere else in the world, but yeah, I'd like that just for peace of mind and my emotional well-being. Fantastic. And if enough parents want that in their school board, in their schools, then they can vote for that. Then it can be done. It's not a mandate from the state, and it doesn't protect anyone because that's the feeling. Oh, this will protect our kids. No, it won't. Won't protect a single child. Won't do anything. It's meaningless, and it's being used to manipulate people, which then allows more cameras in. You asked a question about private schools. They would do the same thing I'm talking about. They would speak to their parents, the parents of their children, and they would ask them, do you want us to do this? Because they're funded directly by those parents. Those parents have the ultimate right. It doesn't go to the state. They can't force that. So this is absolutely a no, because it fails in its purpose, and it's an invasion of privacy that is unwarranted and unnecessary.
Yeah. All right. So it seems like we're all in agreement on that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to show you something here, just so you folks out there listening don't think I was just making this up, that there are other ways to go about it. This is from the Department of Education, not one of my favorite places, by the way, but they hit the nail on the head on this one. Excuse me, a little tickle in my throat there the last few days. So there are strategies, and not once do they mention cameras, by the way. There are strategies for preventing and addressing adult sexual misconduct, ASM, adult sexual misconduct. One is to not aid and abet. And for some reason, you can see it right underneath, right above the blue block. They decided to spell out what aiding and abetting is without the necessary drop down that the other ones have. And that's basically transferring somebody that they know has been a problem, like the churches did with the priests. They would just transfer them somewhere else, and they would do the same thing somewhere else. So they're saying, don't do that. And we're not going to go through each one of these other than this high point right here. Review your hiring practices. Conduct background checks for staff and volunteers. I would hope it would be conduct better ones. I hope they're doing that already. Train the whole school community. Makes sense. Create a mechanism for systems reporting potential cases of ASM. Enforce consequences for predators. Yeah, right. Don't just have them on the books. It has to be. You have to. They have to have teeth behind them. You have to actually enforce it, and develop an ASM annex, which is just a written document inside your emergency operations plan. So they're offering ways to do it that don't include cameras. So yeah, I'm glad to see that we all agree on that one. It is.
If I could put
totally
my candidate, my candidate hat on here.
Sure.
Yeah, I said before I wouldn't vote in favor of doing that, but to underscore the parents' rights in this thing, they should be the school. This is where school choice is so important. If you don't want your student being filmed, basically, in a classroom, then you could opt out of that. Or if you do want them to be watched, you could opt in. But that's where you make a choice where to take your money, where to take your student. And very much so, like in my county, in our county, by the way, our school budget is $1.4 billion. It's actually more than that now. We have about 58,000 publicly enrolled students. So that comes out to be about $24,000 per student per year. Imagine a family of three. There's basically $72,000 allocated per year per student, or for those three. You could take some of that, not even the whole amount. We could do like 50,000, and that family could hire their own tutor, their own teacher to teach their own, the three kids, and you don't have to worry about cameras or government watching, making a decision to watch your kids or not. Or some other teacher you don't trust, you don't know, you hire the person to come teach your kids. I would encourage that if vote for Joe Hannoush for state representative.
There you go. It's running across the bottom of the screen right there. You are officially in. And I want to say that I think the idea of parents having more say in their schooling is great. If Ruben Colon is out there, I did contact you. Let's get you on the show. He's on the school board here in this county, and he comments quite often on the Monday night show. So if you're out there listening this evening, definitely respond and let's get you on. We'll talk about this. We could talk about more school choice and whatever else is on your mind, and cutting that 1.4 billion. You said million. No, how much was it? The budget?
Billion. Yeah, the B.
$1.4 billion. That is just an
1.4
insane amount of
billion.
money for 600,000. This is a county of 600,000 people, 660 basically.
Yeah,
that's pretty
and
insane, folks.
About 58,000 publicly enrolled students.
But nobody spends more on a student than New York, right, Mike? It's like 35,000 right now.
36,000.
36. Who can keep up?
Yeah.
What goes up faster? What goes up faster? The deficit or spending on children in New York?
Well, I guarantee you that the teachers union, one of the biggest unions in the entire country, one of the most powerful unions in the country that only donate to Democrats, they want it to be them first.
Yeah.
I mean, even if in New York,
right about that, Mikey.
Even if you were, if you had a one student, you could hire a part-time tutor, like 15 hours, 20 hours a week, to teach your own kid one-on-one and be done. And pay them.
The actual cost for homeschooling with an outside teacher, and I know that's something that's becoming more and more popular. You're talking about a salary of about 24 for the teacher, a salary of about $24,000 to $35,000. That one teacher can teach 5, 6, a dozen students at least. You can have you and your neighbors put together if you didn't have to put the money into the unions, and most of this money in the unions, by the way, the reason why the cost of education has gone up so much since 1980, it's a 300% increase, is because they have middle managers. They have people who just move around grant papers, and that is where we're spending the same money on books and learning materials. We're spending virtually the same amount on teachers. We just have a bunch of middlemen who are there to make sure they can fill out the government paperwork so they can get more funding. That's where the money's actually going.
Yeah.
Administrators.
You could cut that out. You could hire someone, an actual teacher, teach a dozen students, and it costs $24,000. We'd be saving $100,000 for each teacher doing homeschooling in a local neighborhood. We literally could save hundreds of thousands of dollars in each classroom.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, I could talk about this forever. This is such an easy fix too. But that student and those teachers and the parents, obviously, they can make their own schedule too. Like if they find a student that works with that family to work nights or work weekends or whatever, that's awesome. Both of them are doing better. Instead, you have to be at this place at this certain time. You have to pick up your kid at a certain time. The schedule is set. You can't have a life outside of that. It's just a million different ways it's better, and it's a huge expense and a little bit of common sense, like just reason. Like right now, I know we don't have a Democrat on the panel. If we did, we'd probably have a different angle here. But there's so much like just common sense that could be applied on this.
Yeah,
big issue.
If and when we get a Democrat on the show.
That wasn't a dig. I was just saying.
No, I know.
I'll dig at them. I'll dig at them. No problem.
I definitely want you guys to keep your thoughts honest, because that's the idea. So definitely don't we'd have a different opinion, but definitely speak your minds. It's all good. It's all cool, and I love it. All righty. So I'm writing these down. Don Lemon and the cameras. I'm writing them on my little sheet of paper, and I'm going to keep it right over here on my desk and follow these along. And let's get back to these. Let's follow these stories. I think it's kind of fascinating to see where both are going to go. I don't really know the tenor yet of what the local. This is happening in the Volusia County, which is the Daytona Beach is the main city of these camera things. I don't really know the tenor yet of where it's going. I haven't been out. I will be at City Hall in Daytona Beach this week. So maybe I'll speak to some people and come back with some thoughts on that. But definitely going to follow those, and let's make those stories we track on this show. I do got something else that is New York State related. And that is the wonderful Bruce Blakeman, who is the executive of Nassau County. and also running, hopefully to, in his opinion, hopefully to be the Republican nominee for governor and to go up against Hochul. There was an article since we last got together in Politico that explained his hire of a 24-year-old influencer who's best known for founding Hot Girls for Cuomo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So he was hired, he hired her to serve as a commissioner on the Nassau County Bridge Authority, which interestingly only has one bridge that they're the authority over, which makes this so comical. But her name is Emily Austin. So she was a pro-Israel influencer who founded the opposing group to Mayor Zohran Mamdani's Hot Girls for Zohran, which all went down during last year's mayoral election. Austin has, according to Politico, Austin has no background in engineering or financial management, which seems like perfect criteria to manage a bridge or at least give your comment on the bridge at the commissioner meeting. And a review of the minutes shows that she has never shown up in 6 months, other than once on the phone and a virtual. So this is Blakeman's judgment, gentlemen, or lack thereof. Austin and the authority did not respond to Politico when they asked for questions. And Austin, immediately after being appointed, went on a Fox News radio show and was surprised that we, the people, can actually opine on what's happening in the state. She expressed surprise about the public's opportunity to comment on authority projects. And here is the exact quote. Apparently, we have like residents of, to me, it should stop right there. Apparently, we have residents. What a shock. She goes, apparently, we have like residents of the county. They're allowed to come in and like criticize us or suggest things or ask questions, she told the host. What a revelation. That is actual public comment at a commissioner meeting for the bridge and the bridge authority. So the sole bridge under the authority's control, there's only one. And of course, Hochul lambasted it. So this is, I mean, I guess, where do you go from there? I mean, this is the guy's judgment. It's kind of mind-boggling, don't you guys think?
I hope that she was referring to the actual bridge not having any residents. And maybe that's what she was talking about. I don't know. I mean, the first thing I thought of was maybe the actual jurisdiction, the bridge, doesn't have any residents. So why are people complaining at a bridge meeting when there's no residents there? But anyway, that's what I think.
That's true too. It's one bridge. How bad can it be? Mike, do you know of this bridge in Nassau County?
No, but I'm not surprised. Actually, the bridge would have a jurisdiction. They would have residents because that bridge is in a county. And whatever county that bridge is in, and it could be 2 counties, but it would at least be one, the residents of that county would obviously be directly involved in that bridge, besides the larger community. But what we're seeing there is standard New York politics. Now, she had the program or the guidance to try and build something against Cuomo. Cuomo's a Democrat. Blakeman's a Republican. They hate each other. Cuomo very famously said in 2013 he wanted to get rid of all the Republicans and conservatives from New York State.
Yes.
So why did we see this happen? Because the Republican Party were trying to push Cuomo, and they had to make a deal with him and his supporters, and they had to make that deal so that they could try and defeat Hochul, who was the ultimate big bad. And she's worse than Cuomo. I do agree with that, but I don't think Cuomo's really significantly better, and neither of them should have won. So this was a payoff. She got a cush job, and we've seen this many, many times. And Hochul has done this many, many times, and she allowed it to happen as the lieutenant governor under Cuomo, who did it many, many times. That's why we had the Moreland Commission, which was to fight and combat corruption in New York State. So this is not new. Your buddies with the political connections get you the job, a job that is a no-show job. That's not unheard of. That's not new. And you generally expect no one to catch you on it. I don't think that was because of Blakeman. I think that's because that's what the GOP said. And he did it because the bonus would be if this person who has a no-show job, she's in charge of trying to influence people to vote in a certain way. Well, now you're beholden to me because your job is in my county. And if you don't do it, you could lose that job. So you get some extra help on your campaign unofficially without having to actually pay for it. Let the state do that. And it's a nice little setup. So I'm not surprised she was the one who was found to have that no-show job in his county. It's not a surprise. It's very corrupt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that if you out there are voting based on a hot girl for Cuomo or a hot girl for Mamdani, you're pretty much a moron. That's not the way you're supposed to vote. I'm just going to say it. You should do more than just look at the hot girl and go, oh, well, if there's a cool girl on TikTok, I'm voting for that person. That would be the ultimate stupidity. So I'm just putting that out there, folks. So what else is happening in New York? How's the governor race going on?
I think it's going pretty well. By the way, I should mention to people, if I seem to fidget a little bit, if I seem to be grimacing a little bit more than usual, and I do mean more than usual, not just that I do that. I hurt my back, and so even though I have some medication right now, I'm still a little bit in pain. So I just it's not personal to anyone on the show. It's just I have a little bit of pain.
Yeah, and I appreciate that you made the effort. At the Marine, I told Donna the other day, we were watching you last night, Mike. I said he's going to show up because he's a Marine and so he's going to do whatever the heck he can to make sure he's doing your show, which I think you did like 4.5 hours last night, and this tonight. But I did, I want Mike to feel better as quickly as possible. And if you weren't here, it totally would have been understandable. But I appreciate that you made the effort. I too have a bad back, and at times can't walk because of it, and it is no fun. So, and Mike, since we're all saying, Joe, since we're all saying our aches and pains, you got to chime in. What's your major ache and pain?
I have had a lot of aches and pains. I have a weak neck, but I have been doing some exercises lately, and my Facebook algorithms and on Instagram, my algorithms are all like how to reduce your neck pain, how to reduce your back pain, how to improve your posture, etc. Once that gets going, I watch like 5 of those a day, and I actually do some of them, and they've helped. I'll be honest, they've helped.
Really?
So yeah. All right, if you get your algorithms to kind of just type in the search bar, alleviate back pain. You'll start getting some reels and whatnot. So I suggest watching those, and they help. Do them, and they do help.
I got one better. You now have an assignment, Joe. You have homework. You have to come back next week with the video of the best back exercises, and we're going to have a new segment called Feel Better by Joe.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. I probably have the wrong form. But you know what? I will send you guys a link. So if you want like a lower back one, I'll send you a link of the reel, and it'll start your algorithms going, and you'll start seeing them too. But they are helpful. Honestly, they are helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, Mike. Well, anyway, thanks for being there. And we were talking about the race, but go ahead.
Yeah, let me go back to New York, though. I just wanted to explain that because I know people may notice it. So,
sure.
But I believe the show must go on. I'm here for you guys in the audience, even if you hate me, even if you disagree with everything I have to say. That's okay. I'm still here for you guys. New York had something interesting happen. Blakeman still, of course, is unknown, and right now the Conservative Party is having its convention. They'll probably, I know Larry Sharpe is there right now. He's vying for the Conservative Party endorsement. He probably won't get it. But Blakeman is in no way gaining support. We still know 45% of Republicans don't know if they want to even vote for him. That's huge.
Wow,
and that
really?
where only 23% of the public of Republicans are actually available to vote. So that means he's down to 12.5% at this point. But there's something else that I think was really important. You remember in December, I was talking with you. I think we did the first interview in December, towards the end.
Yeah.
And we came on, you were doing a one-on-one interview with me, and you said, and you let me speak about the homeless and advocating for the homeless to help them. And if you remember, I said at the time I was raising money for the Jericho Project, a local organization that helps protect and help the homeless, veterans and families. And I said at the time, the reason why I'm doing this was to give money away, to give it to the Jericho Project on January, because I did not trust that Zoran Mamdani would take care of the homeless, that he would not be able to protect the homeless or our veterans or families in need. I wasn't wrong. In the last month, Zoran Mamdani said the way to help the homeless was to leave them in the middle of winter, to let them live in the parks, to let them live under bridges, and at that time, 24-degree weather with snow on the ground, about an inch of snow on the ground. Since that time, Zoran Mamdani still wants the homeless to live out in the parks, under the bridges, out in the cold. The temperature has been 8 degrees in the morning, many days now, a couple of weeks now, that we've seen single-digit temperatures. We've had, 10 inches of snow on the ground, and there's still snow on the ground right this second. The Mamdani still failed to get all the snow up, which is really bad compared to any other mayor of New York. And he let 14 people died. Homeless. In the parks, under the bridges, 14 died because Mamdani didn't bring them in to the warmth that we have the shelters for, that we could, because those shelters have to be filled with illegal aliens because of open borders that he supports, because he's a socialist. And this is remember, he said, there is no problem, no issue too big for government, because he believes government fixes everything. And this is the fix he had, his fix for homelessness, which could be because of mental issues. It could be because you lost your job. It could be for a lot of reasons. And his answer was, let them die. I'm very happy that January 2nd, my first video of this year, 2026, I, on live stream, actually donated all the money that was given to me in the month of November and in December. Plus, I put in some of my own money. And we made that donation to Jericho Project. And hopefully, if even one person was spared from the torture of Zoran Mamdani, Mayor Mamdani, I'm so thankful to everyone, your audience, my audience, every audience that saw that. But I warned him. I said, this is going to happen. We cannot trust him. And now we have the evidence of 14 people who are dead who did not have to be and should not have been. That is insulting.
Joel's commenting, the warmth of collectivism, which was a quote from Mamdani's inauguration speech. And Shelley offers some frustration there as well. Absolutely. Just going to catch up here real quick. Larry is fiscally and creatively conservative. What do you think? True. All right. And Larry, Joe, you've been on the show. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Larry is great. I mean, I wish him. I mean, it would be the greatest thing for New York if Larry Sharpe was governor. Period.
Okay, you think he's fiscally and creatively conservative?
I think he's creatively liberal. I would say. I think he's got some moxie. I wouldn't say he's conservative with that. I would say he's the opposite of that. Honestly.
You know what I find
conservative? But go ahead.
You know what I find great about Larry is he can take his ideas and make without changing what that idea is, make it fit another ideology. So like I was watching a show once where he was asked where socialists want to pay for everything, right? Want the government to pay for everything, want everything to be free. So I saw Larry. There was a show with a very famous left. I can't remember her name, but anyway, he goes, you know what? I'll do better than just having the buses free. I'll have it all free. And he started talking about his idea of a sovereign fund and how that would lower property taxes and start paying for property. And he just went. and like, you know, and I'll have corporations pay for it because they'll have naming rights to the subway and all his plans. And so he took this idea, buses, that's nothing. I'm going to get everything. Just elect me. We'll have corporations paying for it. And we'll have a sovereign fund. And it's like he can turn his idea without changing what the idea is and make it appealing. He has got such a great way of speaking his points across and communicating those to a broad swath of people. That's why I would love to see him on the debate stage. I think it would be great. So we can hope for that. I also think there was something here about medical. Just catching up here. Joel gets nervous if the algorithm suggests some medical condition. Yeah.
Well, to that, it's usually when you type something in. Like if you do a search for like peanut butter, you're going to start seeing like Nutella come up. You're going to see like peanut butter and jelly. You're going to see Reese's Pieces. Like you know how algorithms work there.
Yeah.
It's algorithms. So, but it's been beneficial. I'm telling you guys, it's been beneficial. I'm going to send you out a link.
All right. Well, I wish you'd take me up on your offer and come back with a video and kind of explain it all to us. Exercise with Joe. Be fit with Joe.
I'll send you the link. You can show up. The reels are like 20 seconds long. If you guys want to show that on there, it's great. Help people out. But it's helped me. Like honestly, it's been a huge help. Like
I'm sorry.
I feel actually better.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. So Shelley's saying that Larry, doesn't want to burden the taxpayers. He wants to sell naming rights. Yes. Fiscally creative, conservative of taxpayer funds. I actually take the naming rights idea and bring it up to the county council when I'm on the beats down here, the Volusia County Council, trying to get that idea across. That because there's a whole big move for folks who don't know in Florida to get rid of property taxes, and both sides of the aisle, even though we're nonpartisan, you can figure it out. Are basically like, whoa, what are we supposed to do? How are we going to get money? And what are we going to fund this for? And when I hear that and I'm speaking to them, I'll say, naming rights. I take Larry's idea and I'll use down here, Kia Arena, the Kia Arena naming rights. Why don't we do that for the Little League field? There's this business right across the street and it could be called Joe's Pizza's Little League Field, and think of all the times it'll be mentioned. I'm basically taking Larry's lines and changing them around to fit Volusia County. But naming rights, great idea. Yep,
you're
great.
Right. Yeah, you're right though. I mean, it does make sense.
Yep. Spread the word. It's good stuff. All right, man. That's anybody else got anything? It's been a wonderful show so far. I have my 3 topics you guys did a great job on, as always. Anybody else got anything that you want our viewers to know?
Well, I was thinking, I ran a little bit of a rant there. Thank you for giving me the time to do so. But what are your thoughts about what I was talking about with Zoran Mamdani? I mean, did you hear about his promises and then the reality of what he's doing with the homeless? And
did not hear the homeless story at all. Did you, Joe?
No.
And I go to everyone. I say this every week, I know, but I go to Fox, MSNBC, CNN. My Twitter feed has. I have Robert Reich on my Twitter feed. I have people to the right. I listen to. I don't know, Mike, if you listen to. He's more New York based, but Joe, maybe you listen to him too. The John Batchelor Show. He's been on a good 20, 25 years. He's awesome. He's on CBS right now. Was on WABC 77 for a while, but now he's on CBS. Eye on the World is the name of the show, but the host is John Batchelor. He's to the right. I go right, left. Reason hasn't had anything on about that. I go libertarian. I saw nothing about these people dying. I saw nothing. Yeah, I know, right? That's the point, and it's a horror. It's a horror. And why? This is a rhetorical question, but Michael, you have rights walking down that street that you don't have to see these homeless people suffering. You have a right too. And it seems like the far left doesn't want to acknowledge that the 9-to-5 citizen, the regular citizen, has a right to not have to step over somebody who's practically dying, if not, suffering, to get to where they need to go. That person on the street, they think they have more rights than you do to live in a nice neighborhood. And I just don't get it. Like, I don't get that whole mindset.
Well, I can tell you one thing about this. the reason why you didn't hear about this on nationals, although nationally they have been promoting during the campaign, they were promoting Zohran Mamdani. You had to go to WPIX, which is a local channel. It's channel 11 in New York City. They covered the news. ABC News, not the national, but the local ABC affiliate, they covered the news. So the local news covered it. The national news, and no, they just avoided it. And again, ABC News had the story. ABC News told the story, but only to the local news, not to the national, because it would make Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialists of America, and socialism look bad, because it is bad. And that's one of the biggest problems with that.
Okay, so Shelley said, I go to Fox, CNN, and independent news media. Shelley, tell us which independent news media. I'd love to know that. And I didn't hear anything about them dying. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Mike, you got a link. I'm sure you do. Can you send that to me? I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, I can. Let me see.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. Shelley, I was a librarian for 21 years. So just those first 4 or 5 words, you got me. Go to your local library. Of course, for everything. Go to your local library and get a Narcan kit and training so you can save lives. Yes.
I have a confession. I don't watch any Fox News or MSNBC or CNN or any of that.
All right. Yeah. No,
I follow almost entirely left-leaning news.
Yeah,
which is funny considering I'm a conservative Republican.
Yeah.
And 95% of everything I follow is from the left.
Yeah. Well, you got to go to them and listen to them. So Joe, where do you get your news?
That's a good question. I think I get a lot of my news from this, honestly. I think just like whatever articles come up, like it'll usually be like I'm in a bunch of like Facebook groups, a lot of political groups.
Right.
And someone will share a post on there saying, such and such happened here regarding the gun rights or whatever. So I would read that article. So it's more like a libertarian stuff. Like libertarians will usually share stuff. So I'll just read whatever libertarians are sharing.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the link. I got it there, and that's awesome. Yeah, that's actually a good way to do it, because you're gonna find stuff that you wouldn't find that you wouldn't like seek out yourself. That's why I don't care across the board on my social media. I follow everybody because I want to see those articles that those people post. I want to see what they're thinking and talking about. So yeah, that's a great way to go about it. That's the good part about social media right there. All right, folks, listen, this has been awesome as well, as always. Like Joe started out saying, we ran into each other, and it's always fun, Joe, to run into each other. There was an expo locally, and we were both there, and that's always a great time. I appreciate that. You hanging out with me for a little bit there that day. And Mike, I appreciate you coming on with the bad back and all. It's really wonderful, and I always look forward to this. Oh, we got one more comment. Let's grab that before we hit the road. So Shelley, I asked her where the Independent was, and she put, I get my news from all English and Spanish speaking countries. Wow. All right. Awesome. Yeah, good deal. I love that. I am trying to learn Spanish every now and then. I pick up an app and try to learn a few words. So, all right, folks, as always, I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody who commented tonight, and everybody around the world who was watching this evening. I don't know where you are or what time it is in your neck of the woods, but no matter the time, I hope you had a good time. This time, until next time, we will see you